Everybody, how's it going? Listen, I just received in the mail today, I think it's just out, The Lady in the Balcony, Eric Clapton, the Lockdown Sessions. Totally impressed with this great DVD. I hope you'll watch my review and comments on this awesome artist and this new release. Well, I got this in the mail. I ordered the DVD. I think you can get the vinyl. And you know what? I ended up actually just also buying it on Amazon Prime, which is easier. This is one of the moments when it occurs to me, I think DVDs have gone the ways of cassettes and vinyl. I've got one in my PS4, but it's sort of a pain, so I'm glad I have it. But I actually bought it on the Amazon Prime, and you can see all the songs. So quite a few of the songs are on YouTube, but not all. So if you want the great DVD, if you want the great video footage of them playing on this session, you need to get this or buy it from Amazon Prime or something like that. But just a great recording. They were in lockdown, so he had to postpone some performances at the Royal Albert Hall. And he called his band, and they did some practices, and this was the result. I'm pretty sure it's just live playing. I didn't see any obvious signs of overdubbing or a lot of editing or anything. I don't know how many takes they did, but it looked like they were just relaxed, seasoned players, just relaxing, playing through songs they knew really well, and it's excellent, excellent. Really, I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, this is a capstone release. I mean, just outstanding. You can't ever replace talent and authenticity. Mr. Clapton has that. And at the end of the day, that's what keeps you going. That's what separates you from everybody else. But one of my takeaways on this is it's 1921 meets 2021. It's all these old blues songs. It's acoustic. They do have an electric keyboard because of, the realities of playing, but pretty much it's like it sounds like a bunch of old men playing all these old blues songs. And yet the gear is so good. He's playing all these really beautiful Martin guitars. Nathan East has this really beautiful 5-string bass. And it's recorded so well and videoed so well. It's a real treat. And it just shows you that when used properly, technology and gear of our own times can enhance and not detract from music. Sometimes I feel like we always think, well, old school musicians, you need all this old school. One thing I wanted to add about the way this was done in terms of the gear and recording is they use mics. And I saw Clapton the other night in Atlanta, September 23rd, I think, and he even announced that they just use mics on Clapton's guitar. And that's a good example of why mics on an acoustic guitar are the best. You can't always do them if you're in a noisy room and things like that. You need the projection of a pickup. But those mics give the sound of that guitar such a kind of airy, atmospheric sound that's so acoustic and natural, and no pickup system ever can really replicate that. If I have to use a pickup, an acoustic, I actually prefer the electromagnetic because that gives you a little bit of an electric guitar buzz. You might as well go for the classic rock feel. But if you really want an acoustic sound, you can't beat a mic. And this recording is one of the good examples of mic recording and how good they sound in ideal conditions. Over a pickup. So he wasn't plugging in some under the saddle pickup. He's just using mics. And the difference in sound, it's kind of a quieter, subdued sound, but you can kind of hear the room, and it's just really great. And he was playing old Gibsons, and he had an old Fender tube amp, and it sounded great, but it was recorded so well, and just everything about it was excellent. And yet it was this old kind of you kind of felt like the style they were playing, it should be all these old scratchy blues records, but it was so pristine and sounded so good. Just 1921 meets 2021. I've got my notes here. They recorded it in an old country estate somewhere in West Sussex. I don't know all the countryside of England, but very beautiful. It looked like some kind of old manor house. And they intersperse the music with a lot of footage of the mansion and the grounds, and it's truly beautiful, and it creates a really kind of neat, eclectic feel, really, because you have this very English kind of estate, almost aristocratic estate, and then you have all this beautiful blues music. Much of it American, by the way, but just terrific. The song selection, also a lot of old blues songs. I've got my notes here. He does a couple of standouts to me on here. He does Golden Ring. Now, if you watched a while ago, I did a little review of Pattie Boyd and her autobiography, Wonderful Tonight. And I had never really realized it, but that song Golden Ring, which was kind of an album track off Backlist, and I always really liked it, but I don't remember it being talked about or heard that much. But he did a beautiful version of Golden Ring, and that was a song that Clapton wrote when Pattie was depressed. That was when they were married or a couple. And George Harrison, Pattie's first husband, had remarried Olivia, who ended up who was today his widow. But she was kind of depressed because her first husband had remarried. You know, that's always kind of a sort of a door closing, you know. And he wrote that song Golden Ring, and I don't know that he's ever played it that much. He might, but I haven't heard him do it that much. And it's a great song. And he does a couple Peter Green songs. He does Black Magic Woman, and he does Golden Ring and Black Magic Woman. He plays a really cool 12-string guitar, and you know, I thought it was a Sir. But I thought for sure it was probably Martin, because he's playing all these awesome Martin acoustic guitars that are set up for fingerstyle. You know, that fingerstyle setup. Once you set it up for fingerstyle, and you could tell his were set up to a T. But once you set a guitar up like that for fingerstyle, you know, it's often that is a fingerstyle guitar. But he had a 12-string, and he was just playing with his fingers on this thing. But it looked to me like it was a Sir. But you know what? If you know what guitar that was, let me know, because it looked like an awesome guitar. But he played some 12-string, and that Golden Ring he played on a 12-string. He did a beautiful version of Bell Bottom Blues. Really a great song. You know, I kind of thought maybe, for some weird reason, I thought maybe he'd hunt down Bobby Whitlock and get him to show up for a song or two on this last tour. I don't know why. I just had that idea, but he, you know, that didn't happen. But he did play Bell Bottom Blues, and Bobby Whitlock's name is on it. He does a great job. Lady in the Balcony. That's kind of the title, or that's the title of this, which was his wife Malia in the balcony of this great estate, and it's actually a tune called "I Believe in Life." And that is kind of they kind of reprise that at the end of the DVD, and I think that's Mr. Clapton's statement. I don't want to say going out statement, but it's a great. I believe in life. You know, all the things that go on in this world, all the drama, and at the end of the day, you know, life is so positive, and we should always appreciate the moments we have on this earth. And make the best of them. And that was my message. That was the message I got out of that great song. Another one is this River of Tears, really great. And Nathan East has this 5-string bass, and he was playing like these arpeggios on this 5-string bass, almost playing it like it was an acoustic guitar, really great. And then they close with some electric blues, and he got a couple Gibson hollow bodies out. I don't know my hollow bodies that well. One looked like a 335, I don't know, but he had a couple really sweet looking Gibson hollow bodies, and they looked pretty vintage. They zoomed in on the neck, and unless they were relic or something, but they were great guitars. And he was playing through this little Fender, some kind of little junior Fender amp, and it sounded just great. Chris Stanton played some great piano. You know, that rock and roll piano is kind of a dying art. In my opinion, you know, kind of like old Dr. John, and you know, but of course Chris Stanton was on Mad Dogs and Englishmen and all that Joe Cocker stuff, and I saw him actually with Clapton. He was on a bunch of Clapton albums. I think he's on Backlist, and I saw that tour where Backlist had come out, and I remember seeing Chris Stanton, and I didn't know who that much, but I remember the guy I was with knew who Chris Stanton was, and he pointed him out, and I kind of would pay attention to his piano playing at that concert. That was at Pine Knob Music Theater, late 70s, early 80s. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, I've ever since then, I've been a big Chris Stanton fan, because I play the piano, and that kind of rock and roll and really good blues piano he was playing was just terrific. And he was also playing really tastefully, because a lot of this stuff was really kind of atmospheric, and no one instrument was really out front. I guess Clapton was a little bit, and they all had their kind of moments where they would shine. But a lot of times it was just ensemble playing. And Chris Stanton always had such good keyboard. Nathan East, just great on bass, always tasteful. And like I said, had some one of the times I thought he really did some really cool stuff was that when he was playing that 5-string bass and those arpeggio runs. Steve Gadd on drums. It's hard to play drums for acoustic music. It's probably harder in some ways. That's probably harder than playing Rush or something, because you can't get in the way, but you've got to give it a feel and the physicality that drums bring to the beat and the rhythm of a song. But you're in all this kind of quiet acoustic music, you can't screw it up. So musicianship was just great on this. Clapton plays fingerstyle. I don't believe I saw him ever use a pick. And I never really associated him that much with fingerstyle, and I think he's played it all along. But man, he is a fingerstyle player. I noticed. I said that after I saw him in concert, and I did a little review. And I've known he plays fingerstyle. I mean, he did a lot of fingerstyle that Unplugged, but he's a master at it. And he also doesn't. He doesn't really play like the Chet Atkins or a lot of the kind of jazz fingerstyle you play. It's an old country kind of acoustic blues fingerstyle, and it's really, really good. You watch that if you're interested in fingerstyle guitar. He's a master at it. And I sort of don't think he when people talk about fingerstyle players, his name doesn't seem to come up as much, as it would if you're talking about electric guitars, strats, blues, rock. His name would be at the top of the list. But when you talk about acoustic fingerstyle, there are all kinds of names, and his name's not often mentioned, but it deserves to be. He's a master at fingerstyle blues. The whole thing was live, like I mentioned. It's just a great DVD. So I bought the DVD. Should have bought the vinyl, really, because mostly just wanted a physical copy, and I should have bought the vinyl. I think it was kind of expensive. But the final thing I wanted to say is, just a great performance, a great. This has got to be one of the best Clapton albums I've ever heard. I've heard a bunch of them. I mean, they're all good in their own way and different in their own way, but this is top notch addition to his discography. Just really good. And the one other thing I was thinking is he has never become a sort of a cover band of himself, like Kiss and REO Speedwagon, and and a lot of these bands that kind of go around, and a lot of times they get younger players to kind of back them, and they go around and almost are just kind of playing jukebox versions of their old 70s hits, and he's never really done that. I guess maybe this is an artist who's always evolving. He's 76, and he still plays so well, but he's still doing true and authentic music, and playing them how he wants to play them now. And this is just a superb collection. I really can't recommend it highly enough, and have so much respect for Eric Clapton. And like I said before, people say all these things, but talent and authenticity is the final word. Talent and authenticity, not critics and commenters. Talent and authenticity, and creators, not commenters. And Mr. Clapton's got talent and authenticity up the wazoo, and I give a salute to him as general, and this great new addition. Thank you. God bless you.